Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle Hamilton, and I'm going to be your host for this afternoon, actually. Due to some of the weather on the East Coast, I'm going to be host and presenter and moderator and a little bit of everything. But I certainly want to thank everybody for joining us today for another Flycast Partners webinar. And today's webinar is entitled, Are You Ready for the Cloud? We'll be talking a little bit about BMC Remedyforce cloud solution for service desk. Before I get started, just a brief introduction on my part. Again, my name is Kyle Hamilton. I'm a sales engineer with Flycast Partners now for about 3 years. I joined Flycast after spending the previous 20 years working for BMC, both as a consultant and trainer, as well as on the sales staff. I have certifications and products from Cherwell to Avanti to Microsoft, as well as being an ITIL master. I want to talk just a moment as well about Flycast for those who may be seeing the Flycast name for the very first time or hearing it. And Flycast is an organization that's staffed up by other people in the IT business, much like myself, that has spent 20+ years in this space of IT service management, and leveraging that collective experience to be able to provide value-added services for customers, and a leading value-added reseller in the North American space. And we offer everything from, of course, presentations and demonstrations of products similar to what we're looking at today, but also implementation services, training, end-user support, level 1 type support as well. So we can certainly help you both on the implementation side and even in things leading up to implementation if you're looking for help in actually defining process and defining services and things of that nature. We have experts both in ITIL process as well as things like Six Sigma black belts to be able to help you develop and engineer those processes like you need to. If you haven't already, you can always visit us at flycastpartners.com on the internet, or you can also reach out at 1-844-FLYCAST. If you want to reach out and get in touch with somebody, we'd be more than glad to help you out. So with that, I've got just a couple of quick introductory slides that will give you some of the high points about what we're talking about today. I'm talking about getting ready for the cloud. For a lot of customers, something like Remedyforce may be the first foray into the cloud. Of course, the biggest benefit for you as a customer is the ability to get rid of the infrastructure related to service desk. No hardware to manage, no software to manage, no software to license, which not only makes it easy from an implementation standpoint and an ongoing administrative standpoint, but also gives you a tool that's untethered from your environment so that users can easily access this from any device, be it mobile device or desktop, laptop, whether it's through a mobile app or whether they just open up a browser and log in. It gives them access, from anywhere with whatever they may have on their person. It's also going to give you advantages in terms of availability, being that Salesforce is professionally managing the platform. So not only do you not have to worry about deploying and managing the infrastructure, but they're actually managing that environment for you so that it's accessible 24/7, as well as providing the automatic upgrades to that environment so that you're not having to rely on manual means to keep up with upgrades and stay within support and things of that nature. And you can benefit from fixes and new features that get added the minute they become available without having to go through those upgrade cycles. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice any kind of flexibility or capability, however. So this is a tool that's enterprise level, meaning that support everything from small 5-10 seat service desks all the way up to 1,000-seat implementations that may span multiple locations or multiple countries around the globe with different languages and things of that nature. Now, it also gives you easy ability to take that cloud environment Remedyforce is running in and be able to tap into other cloud platforms that you may also be taking advantage of or leveraging, as well as connecting back into on-premises applications, existing HR databases or employee databases, financial information that may be out there that may be of value, as well as being able to do things like tapping into your phone system to do screen pops related to the caller ID and be able to provide user and voice prompts through this so that you can leverage your existing phone system with Remedyforce. And you can do that with everything from APIs that are generally available to you as customers, all the way to pre-built integrations that are also available through the Salesforce App Exchange. It's their marketplace of applications, many of which are focused on different types of interfaces or integrations. It gives you an opportunity to have something you can download and have available within minutes versus building something from scratch if you were to use those APIs. Another benefit of being in the cloud is the speed with which the environment can be deployed. Typically on around 15 minutes from the time the order is placed until you get your email with your login credentials ready to go. And as I mentioned, it gives you free and easy access from any browser or through those handheld applications. And through the interface, you can easily configure it as you need to, all the way from your interface and screens to being able to lay out and define your workflow and process and notifications and things of that nature, all very easily, so that it doesn't take a specialized skill set to be able to manage this environment running in Salesforce. So with that, we'll take a brief tour through some of the features that are available. First of those being a look at what is available for your customers. So it provides a web-based interface for the customer to be able to log into directly and be able to get access to all kinds of content you might want to make available, from knowledge-based articles to frequently recurring issues or quick templates they can easily access, to a service catalog of different types of requests, whether those be IT-based requests or HR requests or requests of security or facilities teams, so that you can drive everything through a single portal and give the user simple ability to access and search through that content. So if they have questions related to new hire process or onboarding process, they can start typing that question and those keywords into this portal, and it'll automatically provide them matching content out of that catalog. So if they want to make that request, and they've got a form where they you can prompt them for all the relevant details, so that you can capture everything from who's being hired to when do they start to what do they need, so that you can capture all the specific information that you're going to need, so you can automate a process like this as well. Things like approvals, as well as the fulfillment process. Might also give them access, give them a suggested article related to that topic or question. And again, it just gives them an easy way so that not only can they submit requests that they might need to, or submit incidents that need to be reported, but hopefully also finding access to, those known issues and FAQs and how-to articles so that, hopefully self-help in a vast majority of cases. If not, you'll see down here at the bottom, if they don't find their answer or don't find anything out there, they can always just launch, into a new ticket where they can basically detail what it is they're looking for, whether they're having a particular email issue or printer problem. And you'll notice as they go about doing so, it's going to automatically suggest some of those articles so that even if they didn't do the search for themselves, it's going to automatically present some of those suggested articles so that hopefully an additional opportunity to derail the need for the ticket by using one of those articles. But if not, they can always move straight ahead by hitting the submit button and off they go. For anything that they submit through here, they've got access to get status updates and information back out of the portal as well. So any kind of communications that need to take place, any kind of notes or updates for the user to be aware of, those can all be viewed through here. So they can follow along with what's happening. They can see where it is in the approval process. They can see where it is in the fulfillment process, so that all of that status and update information that's needed doesn't have to be given by phone or via email. Now, it also gives your staff easy access to all of that content coming in. So for those people that are responding to different requests or different incidents that are coming in, they have a console where they can easily find what they're looking for, whether they're looking for an incident or request, or beyond that, if they're looking for something specific. Is some specific type of issue, or are they just concerned with those things that are sitting on their plate and they need to respond to, so that they can quickly and easily find what it is that they're looking for. And this can also be used to highlight key information right here in the console, so that without having to actually start digging into details, you can see some critical values, things like that due date progress, where it is within that progress window, so that we know those things that are getting near to breaching a service level agreement, or just the highlighting that you see of the records in the console. So I can see the highlighted issues that in blue in this case that are new and nobody's looked at. The green shows me issues that are out there that have had some kind of customer response or update that's there, that's something to be viewed, so that you know what's important and what you need to pay attention to before you even drill down any further. Now, the other thing it can help you do is it can help you be able to track and manage assets within your environment, so that as you're actually creating incidents for users, or users are reporting incidents, you have the ability to leverage those devices, those applications and things that you have in Remedyforce, so that those can be linked to those, whether it's a knowledge-based article or to an incident or change request. And that gives you the opportunity to not only build history for all those assets and for those devices, but also to give you the potential to pull up related information. It could be other related applications or other related devices. It could be a related support agreement or support contract. It could be the physical location of that device, so that you have access, and anybody can have access to this type of information, so that it can be used to provide a better and higher level of support by giving some subject matter expertise and some deep level information about the environment, everything around, so that you can use this to better analyze and better troubleshoot those issues. and be able to, have access to things like, user history and all that related information that's out there. So as you're looking at assets, being able to understand has it happened in the past, or what's happened in the past, how have those things been dealt with, what else is going on. So again, that can all factor in and play into the troubleshooting process. And with some of the other modules for Remedyforce, like the discovery module as well as the client management module, we can actually assist you in creating and generating those relationships and those dependencies, and populating all of that configuration information into Remedyforce, so that you're not reliant on manual means of entry. Now, something else to note is, out of the box, Remedyforce also provides a tremendous amount of content that's made available for you right out of the gate. Number one, you have access to a library of requests that are all provided for you. So it's very easy to go in and simply select which ones you wish to use, which ones you don't, so that, very quickly, and I'd say, for customers that are looking to, take advantage of the facilities and HR and IT content like you see here, most of those customers have this rolled out, within a 5-day, time span. So very quick time to be able to have something like this up in front of customers by being able to take advantage of some of that content that you can easily apply to the environment. It also gives you the ability to go in and, with simple point-and-click interface, go in, brand, and update the look and feel of this portal, and change and apply themes with a click, so that you can make it look the way that you want, make it blend into the current environment very easily. So it gives you some nice tools to be able to do so. Now, the other thing I'll talk about is some of the other suggested content that you'll see appearing down at the bottom here. So as your users are actually leveraging Remedyforce and they're reviewing tickets or creating tickets for users, they have the ability to access suggested content that's automatically searched up for them, so that they have access to the how-to articles and the known issues and things of that nature. So they can leverage those documents, if they can take advantage of those articles to assist, in troubleshooting or correcting some issue. And they not only have access to it, but can also take, the content, the detail from those articles, and populate that information into those tickets automatically, so that you have an easy path to resolve and close those issues, having used some of that content. And you can also provide other key information for staff, maybe things related to user history, to templates that may be applicable, may want to use, to potential relationship to something that's already being worked on and something that's already known about, which relates directly back to the scrolling banner you see at the top of the screen, so that as you're going through and reviewing issues, you're creating a ticket for a user, it looks like it might be related to something that's up there based on that description or based on how it's categorized. Gives you the opportunity to be able to identify that right here, so that all that information related to that broadcast and those updates can also flow down into all those linked incidents. You no longer have to treat those as a bunch of individual incidents. You know, have them in a block through that broadcast, so you can update them at once and close them at once, and be able to treat those as a single event that affects multiple users. Now, there's also the ability, as I mentioned, not only populating the asset information into Remedyforce, so that you have that graphical view we saw before, but also potentially giving you the ability to be able to reach out and actively fix a device. So if a user calls in related to a machine with the client management module, through that same menu up here, I can actually launch into a window that'll allow me to talk directly to that device or through that device, so that I might do everything from pull up details about the hardware and software, configuration of the machine, things like that, financial information if I'm tracking that, just additional inventory information, as well as giving me access to open up a remote control session or take some kind of action on the device, or go in and update a registry value if needed, so that not only do I have visibility to the machine and how it's configured, I actually have the ability to reach out and make corrective changes and updates to the device. Whether I do those things manually, am I going in and making manual edits or updates like here in the registry, or whether I've created fixes and updates in advance, so that when those particular situations or issues arise, that users within Remedyforce can have access to those, so that when it's a user that needs a piece of software that they're looking for that they don't have, or whether it's other types of simple fixes like restoring somebody's desktop shortcut that they accidentally deleted, or remapping a drive that they've lost connection to, so that any of those things that you deal with on a regular basis, you can anticipate and you have those things available to staff, so that they can initiate those updates immediately, so that the tasks and all that information can be updated in the ticket automatically, and your users can do a lot more at the front line by having access to be able to deploy software and things like that, as well as being able to directly access the device if they needed to go in and open up a remote control session, watch what the user's doing. Again, they have easy access to do so, all from the browser or through the browser. So this could be in the office, at home, hotel lobby, airport terminal. It doesn't make a difference. So that not only could you be logged in and using the tool, you could be actually remoting in and assisting users in that same way. A lot of capability available through the cloud platform, and leveraging the cloud platform up to and including being able to actually resolve issues for users remotely, no matter where they are. Now, Remedyforce, as I mentioned earlier, provides a full ITIL complement of different modules, from incident management to problem management to change management, release, all accessible through this same console. So you may have users focused on incidents, others may be focused on the request side of the house, and just looking at different types of service requests, and it gives you the ability to have this broken up for different groups. So if you want to have everybody working together, you can. If you want to have different users, maybe somebody in HR, as in this case, where you want to completely separate them out into their own little instance, so to speak, so that way they have the ability to leverage the same application, same interface, but be able to track and manage their requests separately and independently of what other groups or teams may be doing, and not having to worry about having to sift through or look at create filters to get rid of other information, but simply erecting a fence between those different groups or departments, so that everybody can share the same environment and log in, but everybody has their own sandbox to play in, so to speak. Now, all of the different within Remedyforce can also be related. So you can have incidents related to problems, related to changes, with tasks associated with each. The easiest way to show or demonstrate that, pull up what we call this Smart View, which takes all those related records, in this case associated with this change request, and displays them graphically so that I can navigate between them, take a look at the contents and details of each. Whether I want to look at the change request itself and maybe the attached documents for it, or to be able to look at the tasks, those child tasks that are out there that maybe being worked on, so I can see and view updates related to those, all the way to the problems that are associated with this change request that hopefully it corrects or fixes, so that I have through a single pane of glass visibility into all those different related records. And it makes it easy for you as the customer to be able to go in and easily lay out what your change process looks like, what those child tasks need to be, so that you can easily go in and template out your different processes so that those can simply be leveraged and executed each time, rather than having to rely on repeated manual means of creating all that content and creating that relationship. So it makes it easy for you to be able to automate those processes. And up to and including things like the approvals, so that as requests are getting made or changes are being submitted, that you can easily go in and define who needs to review, who needs to assess, who needs to approve those changes, so that that as well can be automated and free up significant resources by driving those notifications automatically and giving them the ability to do those approvals for themselves via the mobile phone. They may get an email notification where they simply respond to an email. So you have the ability to capture that approval in any number of ways. You'll see the different kind of email notifications that I've received here, and including things like we've created your incident and assigned it to a particular team, all the way to my emails here, and show me much the same being sent out to customers and staff and things like that. So you have the flexibility to be able to define how much or how little information goes into your notification process. And simple checkboxes to enable and disable those notifications or update the content if you see fit. I mentioned earlier the other nice thing about being on the Salesforce platform and having Remedyforce in the cloud is being able to easily integrate to other cloud platforms. I'll show you an example here while we're in here, which is the Office 365. Frequently, customers are using email as a way of interacting with support and service desk, and as a nice way to be able to tap in and leverage the fact that everybody wants and continues to use email, but also having an interface to Office 365 so that you can take this, that Remedyforce functionality and just expose it directly in the email client that they're using all the time. So rather than having to even navigate to that self-service portal, you've got users with the ability to simply access that knowledge-based content, search it up right here for themselves, right there in the email client in the same way. Or if not finding the answer, then being able to submit that service desk ticket directly through email rather than just sending a raw email, so that you still have the ability to put things like data requirements at a minimum so that you know what you're getting when they submit that information. So nice to be able to have the ability to integrate things like an interface very easily. And this, again, is something that as a customer, you can go in and configure what elements you want to expose and what you want those to look like, so you can give them as much or as little, functionality through here as you see fit, to it, including being able to do things like approvals and get notifications and alerts and things that you may want to notify them on, versus having to generate and send a lot of email notifications. So you still have access to it in email, but it doesn't have to be email. Now, coming back on the Remedyforce, the other big key and one of the nicest features of being on the Salesforce platform and in the cloud is the reporting and dashboard capabilities that you have available to you. Namely because they're very, very simple to use, very capable, gives you all power and flexibility that 99.9% of the users have need for. There's, again, a lot of out-of-the-box content with Remedyforce. So there's roughly, I believe, 95 reports out of the box across everything from knowledge-based articles to change management to problem management, easily accessed and run and viewed just by clicking on the report title. And they give the ability to drill down into additional details. So if you want to go back to the record level, you always get back into the record itself. If you want to view the nitty-gritty for a particular change request or incident, you can. And it gives you the ability to easily create and or make edits to reports with a simple drag and drop interface. So it doesn't require any more than about 5 or 10 minutes of really just kind of starting from scratch and kind of playing around to find your way around. And everything's kind of right here, drag and drop. So you've got everything from your fields over here, where you can go and simply remove what you don't want. You want to add something that maybe not there. Maybe I want to go in and add something like the change type. And I can put it down over here if I want to place it. I can drag it over here and drop it in the middle of the palette itself. And I've got several different ways that I can add things to create a report or update things within that report very easily with mouse and keyboard. You can also do things like your groupings. So be able to organize, and define how you want the report to look. Whoop. I gotta wait just a moment while it finishes to save this. So that I can go in and create the groups for categorization or different types of changes, things like that. Refresh the screen here. So that whether you're creating something from scratch or whether you're building something off of something that was already there, you can easily go in and make those changes through this interface. Go in and as I mentioned, create the groupings, and kind of organize the report the way you want. You can go in and filter things out, so you can say I only want records opened in the last year or the previous year, so that you can make sure that you're looking at the right scope in terms of results, whether that's based on a date or whether you want to use some other field to filter out information, so that you can easily be left with the data that you're hoping for. Gives you the same easy ability to add charts and graphics, so be able to summarize and summate the information up here at the top nicely, and then to be able to go in and save something like this back, giving it a simple unique name and the ability to either put it in a private store or a public folder for others to have access to it as well, so that you can easily go in and create the different reports that you need, to be able to have access to the information very easily. And for anything like that that you go in and create, if it's something you want to have on a regular basis or somebody else wants it on a regular basis, and it's also easy to go in to any report and simply subscribe to it so that it becomes something that's waiting for you at the defined time in your email box, so that you can simply review the results of that report without having to go looking for it. Also available through the handheld application. So again, something you can have on your iPhone or your Android tablet with downloadable apps, so that they can have access to be able to run reports and view reports, as well as the dashboards, which give you the ability to create mashups of different reports, whether it's around an incident process or your change management process or your asset management process, so that you can have those different views that you're looking for, different slices of information that you need on all those different areas. And again, something that once created, you may go in and build some reports and build those into some dashboards to be watched and viewed, or go in and subscribe to these as well, so that just becomes another email, much like the notifications we looked at before. I might get things like this asset management report, show me everything from expiring warranties coming up to incidents by model, so you see which ones are causing me the most problems, and quantities and things like that, so that again, I have all the different breakdowns that I need, but just in an email format that I can review, whether it's a dashboard or a report that you need. And again, it makes it easy for you to be able to not only create them on the platform, but also then get them and schedule them for yourselves very easily. All right. Now, last but not least, I also wanted to mention there is also a great deal of content, I'll flip a view here real fast, available to you in terms of process, as I mentioned earlier, and that's in the form of these idle models. And what this does is this gives you an out-of-the-box workflow for incident management, for change management, for problem management, so that if you've never rolled them out before, if you're looking to move in a best practice direction and methodology, then this is the way that the service desk for Remedyforce comes out of the box configured, so that as long as you follow the written instructions, this will actually walk you through the steps, navigating you through the buttons that need to be clicked and the fields that need to be entered and selected on, so that even without any previous or prior experience, somebody could sit down and submit an incident or submit a change request and understand what's going to happen, through that process by simply following the steps. If they have questions, it gives them everything from a glossary of terms, that defines, what it is that's being looked for in that particular field, what's being asked for, all the way to things like the roles and responsibilities that are involved in the process, to the actual breakdown of, the form itself as it appears and the fields that are on it, so that you know exactly, if you have questions throughout that process about what is this, or what exactly does this mean, or should I be doing this, and all that information is available for any of those out-of-the-box processes. So again, it's a lot of great content for customers to be able to leverage that can help not only speed up the implementation time, but also help you put you in a good foot forward stance in terms of a good best practice methodology without a lot of time having to bake that from scratch.